On the set, here we go. 5, 4, 3,
58 in
2,
Florida, in
1.
Miami.
Hello, everybody. I'm dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Welcome to Mondays with Myrt, where we talk about anything and everything that's come across our Genia desk in the last week. And before we do anything else, Cousin Russ has reminded me that we want to let you all know we are excited when you are able to come and share with us what you've learned. We love helping people climb their family trees, and we reach out to all, regardless of their sexual orientation, their color, their creed, their ethnic origin, their religion. In fact, it's really fascinating to recognize a lot of similarities that we have, like the influence of grandmothers. Ha ha ha. I can say that since I am one. But anyway, welcome, everyone. All right, we've got a cadre of people from all over the world. Our gal Leave, let me pull the panelist view down so that y'all can see it. Leave is from Norway. She's our gal in Norway that helped us with our on-site research when Mr. Myrt and I went. Robin is from the U.S., you know that foreign country. Hi, Robin. Randy's from the great state of California. Carol is from Maryland. Yeah, we do have a lot of U.S. participants here. Krista Cowan is Ancestry a country? Seems
Maybe.
like it. Just about. Glad to have you here. John is from the Netherlands, and we're going to find out about a big anniversary today. Our guy in Germany is Frank. Give him a wave. Our gal Hillary is from Wales, but her research is in England, and we're going to be talking about Leicestershire a little bit later. And it has been many years since I have seen Father Ivan, who is here today from Serbia. Hello, Father Ivan.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, Carol, you have been working with Father Ivan. Why don't you take it away? Take this discussion, and we want to hear what's been happening with record preservation in Serbia.
Well, I am thrilled to be here. Father Ivan, thank you so much for being with us. And it's interesting how these networks grow and develop over time. It was about 2018 when I heard Pat and Russ talk about Father Ivan, who was an Orthodox priest in Serbia. And boy, did that catch my attention, because at that time I was in the middle of going to Sparta, Greece every summer to digitize records for the Orthodox Church at their archdiocese. And my ears just picked up, and I said, I would love to be able to get in touch with Father Ivan. I want to tell him what I'm doing. I want to learn what he's doing. This is just so exciting. So thanks to Pat and Russ, I was able to touch base and make contact with Father Ivan. And it has been so exciting to have this connection with him. We are, excuse me, Pat, did you want to mention something?
And we have another connection to surprise Father Ivan.
Yes, I was just getting ready to mention that.
Okay.
Father Ivan was telling me last week that how he learned about doing genealogy research and getting started. And the first person that he mentioned was Krista Cowan from Ancestry. And Father Ivan, Krista is here today to say hello to you and to welcome you and to see how you're doing. We're so happy. She's still working with Ancestry. She's a major part of the Ancestry outlook in education. So it has been wonderful to talk with Father Ivan, to see how he's been doing his research and to learn from him. What he taught me was that he learned through Krista, through genealogy webinars with Pat and with Russ, that he is an advocate of Elizabeth Shown Mills' evidence explained, and he learned how to cite through these webinars and reading these books, he has learned from the masters. And before I turn the time over to Father Ivan and Krista, let me just say that Father Ivan shared his ancestry tree with me. And the first thing I noticed besides all the beautiful Serbian names was the citations. The citations were phenomenal. And so many times we look at trees and there are no citations or minimal citations. But Father Ivan has learned from the pros, and he is exhibiting what he has learned. So I'm going to turn the time over to him. I know he has some things to share with us, but Krista, I think it would be fun if you had some questions maybe for him as well.
Well, first of all, Father Ivan, hello. I have missed you.
Hello. Me too.
When I started doing video education, it was almost 10 years ago now. And we used to use an old platform called Livestream. And I would go live twice a week. I did that for almost 3 years. And
Yes,
then immediately following that, we would have a live chat. And Father Ivan was always, he just jumped right in, and he was always so engaged in his just thirst for knowledge. And he asked brilliant questions and just dove right into the community. And so, Father Ivan, it is so good to see you again. I have missed you.
All of you too.
Oh, this is technology facilitating this communication and this sharing and the education that you provide, Krista. And you've adapted as technology has changed. Go ahead, Father Ivan. I didn't really mean to interrupt you. I just did.
Okay. Never mind. I'm glad I'm here. And I had, how to say, some excellent time following Krista's advices and Ras's also advices to me, how to properly work on my research, on my computer software, Family Tree Maker, and follow Krista's steps, you know, on ancestry and also on using repositories in Serbia, archives, libraries, and so on. And I still remember when I first came to my local archive in my hometown, in Čačak, it was for me unusual. What to expect, I know what to expect. I didn't know what was going to be with me then. At first, they gave me DVD ROM with digitized church records, baptism record first, and it was wow, what is on the picture, on the photo. But in maybe 1, 2, 3 minutes, I realized where to look exactly. At first, I started to look at the village name. If it is not my village name, I simply jumped. I don't care about other villages. And so when I had 10 records, it was only one word to look, and in 10 pages, there are not that word. And in archives, they started to look at my computer and saw that in maybe 10 minutes, I was at half of the page of the book.
Wow.
That book was maybe 300 pages, 300 images. No, not pages, about 3,000 people in it. But it was very quick for me. And they said to me, Father, please turn off your DVD, get it here and turn on our DVD. And so on and so on. It was maybe 10, 15 DVDs of theirs research. And I said, okay, I will help, but my research is down. Never mind your research. Second time, they asked me. I asked them to follow, to invite some of my friends in Čačak to visit archives. They said, okay, he might be able to visit. And he did visit it, but he gave me some surprise. I mentioned that to Carol, and I am very helpful for them to surprise me like that. But my research goes on, and my connection to that archive and all of people in it are very good and still good now. But I'm sorry not to stay alert, but still alert.
You know, Father Ivan, I'm in tears because we have all run across difficulties in our research,
Yes.
and we pray for somebody like you that cares to archive records that I can't go visit and see in person. So the work that you're doing is just incredible, especially when it's basically you doing it. I know you don't care about the other towns, but of course you really do. Krista?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember hearing that story years ago from you, Father Ivan, and just like Pat being so humbled and so grateful that there are people in the world like you who are out there doing that work and making those records more accessible to people who might not otherwise be able to gain access to them. So as much as I know you love your own family history, from the larger genealogy community, thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thanks. Thank you too, Krista. And I wanted to say something, but I just now forgot it. But Carol made me to think about my, how to say, presentation of what I am doing exactly.
Okay.
And she simply pushed me to use PowerPoint, which I never use. For me, I used other Access spreadsheets, databases, Access SQL Server, and so. But I didn't realize how to present it to others, how to engage others to follow my or every other steps in research, in loving, caring for each other. But I am sure that this situation now, I remember what I had to say, made us, all of us, to care for each other. So I am happy that Krista is there and she is well. I saw her Facebook announcement when she was outside SS3 building. And sorry for not being in it, but I see now it is all good. She is well, and I hope all others are well and safe from this disaster.
Father Ivan, would you like right now to share your screen and show us some of the records that you have been working with in Serbia? It will be fascinating.
Just 1 minute.
Okay. I've turned it on so that he can share his screen.
Yes.
You know, my Serbian has not improved, but your English is marvelous. I'm proud of you.
Thanks. Thanks.
All right, let's see if you're. Oh, good. It's
Carol,
coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I told Carol that my presentation is not over yet. I didn't have time to process it, but basically it is. I live in Serbia. Serbia is part of Europe, Southeast Europe, and part of Balkan Peninsula, or I think it is called like that. Balkan is a mountain in Bulgaria today, but all other surrounding countries are called Balkan states.
Mm-hmm.
Back in before 1992, there was a large Yugoslavia, which I told Krista and all others in Family Tree Maker, which ancestry was how to say, company that own it, that in family tree maker places, there are villages in Croatia, for example, villages in Slovenia, but not capital for Serbia, Belgrade. If I want to put Belgrade as name of the place, I must go Belgrade, Yugoslavia, which is far away gone, but never mind. And Serbia is much lesser than Yugoslavia. When you see, for example, Italy, it is like woman booth. Serbia is like a bird. Yugoslavia was like a bird. Bird had head, wings, up, down part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Serbia was wings of Yugoslavia in the map. It was, it has many wars in it, many circumstances, and history is full of wars for liberty, for freedom, like in Greece, which are now celebrating 200 of liberation, freedom from Turkey. We in Serbia get our freedom between 1804 and 1830s years, or maybe 25, 30 years, under two major how to say, ups of Serbian people. First was built by Kara George, almost to say Black George in English. Black is Kara, George is Georgos in Greece. In English, George. In other parts of West, I don't know how to properly translate. And he went down from central part of Serbia down to Turk border between Serbia and Turkey, was right under my town, Čačak. It was maybe 5 kilometers away from my town, on Mountain Jelica. I am very disappointed for not being able to show all of you. Just a minute.
So
And
we are, while
yes,
you're pulling that
yes,
up.
I'm sorry. I was going to put that map online.
It's
in
okay.
my presentation, but it isn't right now. And here is a topograph map of my city, Čačak.
Okay, so we're seeing a gray screen, but do you have more than one monitor? Is that what's going on?
No,
Okay,
I don't know
so
why.
pull up a different window, because all we're seeing is a gray screen. But I can bring up Google Maps.
Do you see my?
I see your PowerPoint, the program.
Yes. Okay. I was going to write down something about Serbia, basic, and then geography and history of Serbia, and then to go to repositories, which is archives, state municipalities, local municipalities, libraries, cemeteries, etc. Some research, resources, vital records, church records and state records, archives, fonts, and published works from many researchers. I think about 200 of them published their work, their research. We have many memories from the wars, etc., and many letters from many of us who came to USA, maybe to work there, to study there, and to West. And in the church record books, this is for me main church of my life.
Wow. Is this your church?
Yes, it
It's
is church of,
beautiful.
yes. And here is main tower of the church.
Yes.
Tower was down. It is only one of three churches in around Čačak. There was 15 of them, but
Oh.
Turks burned all of them except that three. One of those three churches was church in village Jezevica.
Yes.
I don't know in English, but word Jez is animal with who could bite and very little sharp needles on all over it.
Okay. Like a snake with venom, with
Yes.
little bites. Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
And about 10 people from all villages around village Jezevica. Among them was my great ancestor,
Oh.
Milic, and he and all others of them, 10 of them, wrote to Knez Miloš, who was ruler of Serbia in that time, and asked him to build a tower. And that tower is highest tower around 100 kilometers away
Wow.
from that church.
To
Only
have
in Belgrade,
to have
Yes.
survived the wars back and
Yes.
forth over so
Yes.
many generations,
Yes.
this is just
Yes.
incredible.
Yes. Church itself was built about 14. No, I'm sorry. The 12, 120, 40s, 50s years. So it
Okay.
was 8 centuries old, but tower still remains and church itself still remains. My mother's ancestors was in town Ivanica.
Mhm.
Ivanica is a little Ivan. I am Ivan,
Yes, I see that.
and the women name could be Ivanica. See, women equality.
Okay.
And her ancestors was baptized, buried, and married in this church.
Oh.
It was south from Čačak, about 100 kilometers. Monasteries Mileševa, Dobrilovina are now in almost on the border between Serbia and Montenegro.
Okay. Yeah.
In Mileševa, my ancestors came to Ivanica, mother's ancestors, from region around Mileševa, around border Serbia, Montenegro, and Kosovo in 1805. Before 1805, their parish church was Manastir Milešev.
Okay.
Manastir Dobrilovina, from it in 1774, monk called George, George, my surname Delic, and he came to Čačak region to restore monastery life in around Čačak. Now around Čačak there are about 15 monasteries. Then it was not even one monastery. And he came
So it's
and
growing.
yes, it is growing.
That's
And
good.
he was very good for helping, making donations to, how to say, children who had affinities to learn school, to learn medicine, to learn laws, and etc.
For their
and he-
schooling.
Yes, school.
Hmm.
And he gave donations. He paid for their schooling scholarship. Here,
Yeah. I agree with Frank. This is very interesting architecture. In fact, the
Yes,
temple at St. Sava in Belgrade
yes,
looks
yes,
very
yes,
much like what I see of Greek Orthodox churches here in the United
yes,
States.
yes,
In that, I think that is owing to the interaction with
yes,
various cultures in
yes,
this
yes,
area.
yes, yes. As on the left side, it is a church in my hometown, Charter, Church of Holy. I think about this Ascension. I was preparing to translate some words in red. I didn't have time to translate, but in that architecture is Turk architecture. Turks did not allow so many chapels, so big churches, wide churches. They allowed small churches and loud churches, not large. And there is church vital records, part of them.
This is amazing because my perception would be with such wars and rumors of wars for many generations, I would think these records were not saved. That must mean that because we look for marriage licenses and marriage bonds and things like
Yes,
this.
yes, yes.
So we have
yeah,
so many similar records,
yes.
but you have more available than I thought. Just one moment though.
Thanks to God.
Krista,
Okay.
I know that I scheduled you for and invited you for a certain period of time. How is your time this morning?
I've actually got another meeting that is starting right now.
Okay, so
I'm
Father
sorry. I'm
Ivan,
sorry,
No, it's
Krista,
okay. I was enthralled.
I know. So what we'll do is you'll be able to see the recording to see the rest of what we're learning from Father Ivan.
Yes,
And it was such a joy to have you here, Krista,
Thank
to
you
let,
so much.
and we did this out of respect for you, Krista, because of the influence that you are in the community. And we also did this out of respect for Father Ivan, who acknowledged you as being his mentor, even though we are a
Yes.
world away from each other. So
Yeah.
go
Well, thank
to
you.
your meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Krista.
Yeah.
Krista, thanks.
Oh, what a joy to have her here. Okay,
Yes.
keep going because I want to hear
Okay.
all about
Okay.
this.
Okay. And birth and baptism records in Serbia, maybe there were records and books before 19th century.
Hmm.
I am not aware of them because in 70s, Turk government simply put down, closed Serbian Patriarchy and
Hmm.
gave it over to Greek,
Okay.
to Greek dioceses and Greek priests. Did they publish, wrote, or kept their books? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. In south part of Serbia, in Montenegro and etc., and here nowadays Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Croatia, there are many books before 19th century, but in Serbia, first books was established in 1837. Again, Knez Miloš Obrenović, who was ruler, ordered that every priest must write books, must and keep them safe. I wonder why it was need for ruler to order it. Why didn't bishops order it? I don't know. I still don't know, because it was not a ruler obligation to do it. It was bishop's obligation, church obligation, to keep it written, not in memories, not in before that in Serbia and other legends around Serbia, it was how to say memory from each generation to other.
So we
In
see this tradition of oral history
yes,
coming
yes, oral
down. We
history.
see that in China. We see that
Yes,
in countries in Africa where the tribal
yes,
elders,
yes,
it's part of their young man's rite of passage. He had to memorize all those generations for his
yes,
family. Yes.
yes, yes. And in Montenegro, still there are many people, old people, about 90 years, who remember their ancestors up to 14th, 15th century.
Oh my gosh.
For me, it was not able. I am not able to do it. But first, record books was made in, like I said, in 1837. It is pattern. As you see here is square. In each page of the book, there are 3 squares like it.
Mm-hmm.
3 squares on the right and 3 on the left side of the book.
Mm-hmm.
First was person sex. It is male or female.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have birth date, March 6.
Mm-hmm.
Then father of the child. Here in Cyrillic, I don't know how many of you know Cyrillic.
Not
I doubt
I.
anyone.
I'm trusting you.
Yes, yes. But here is, for example, now in Serbia, each voice, each letter is similar and easy to work, easy to read, easy to. Now that back in those times, it was not so easy because all of you see that it is letter A. Means there, and then it was spoken as ye, not a.
Oh, pronounced
When
differently. Yeah.
yes. And when it was first letter in the sentence, in the word. Here is father, here is mother, and here is their village. I was looking for village, for example, Lipnica. First letter is L. And that L is like in letter A without center slash.
Okay, the line. Yeah.
Line without center line.
Yeah.
And this is not that letter, and I didn't look at it. I simply moved it further to go through all book. Here is name of the person. Yes.
So we have a comment. It looks like only the first name for the mother, not her family name.
Yes. Because back in those days, name of the father and his surname was her surname, but not the birth name, but not a birth surname, but the maiden.
The maiden name. No
maiden name.
Yeah, we have the same thing in many other countries where women's maiden names are not always mentioned. So, wow.
Yes.
I want to compliment you on this slide. That is a killer citation. That means good stuff. You did a good job on your citation.
I had many, how to say, many issues how to cite it.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I didn't look at the book itself. I look at its DVD.
I understand.
And Elizabeth and Rose taught me how to put it.
Yep.
And we have book, we have church, location of that church, name of the book,
Yep.
years, start year, end year, year of original publication of the book,
Mm-hmm.
and name of DVD ROM. Because for church in Ježevica, there are two DVDs. One was before from 1837 to 1880s, and second up to 1880s to 1945, end of World War
End of the
II.
war. Yeah.
Yes. And here is name, town, and municipality, and year of digitalism, the microfilming and the digitization, which I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry.
It's right. You're fine.
And folder, image, name of the image,
Mhm.
page, number, and who was baptized.
That's a very good citation, folks. Those of us who are looking at digital images online, we're looking at a digital image, not going to the church or the archive in question and looking at the original. And so this is a great citation.
Yes. Thanks.
Now, for my grandchildren, when they do good things, I give them a gold star. You get 5 for this one.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Thanks. Thanks. And this is other pattern. We have, I think, 4 patterns for the church, the books.
Mm-hmm.
And this was first image that I looked in archive. First image in my life of church books.
Wow.
And there is, as you can see here, it is very simple.
Mm-hmm.
One record, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7, 8 records on one page. Previously, there was 3 records on each page.
And this entry goes all the way across 2 pages.
Yes.
For one person, that top line.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. Yes. This is page number, number of baptized. This is 1875, October 28. I think I couldn't get a larger picture, larger image for what I had to accomplish is this.
To give us the headings, what the
is
content is. Yes.
And here is birth date, baptism date, November 13. For this child was baptized, for example, for about 2 weeks old.
Is that normal? Sometimes we see in England, for instance, they had to pay for the christening or baptism. Yeah. So there could be a delay.
Yes.
Of a longer period.
Yes. Yes. Here in Serbia, in those times, it was custom to get baptized after 40 days.
After 40 days?
40 days, yes.
Yeah.
Before it was, I think, in this baptism, it was, how to say, danger for his life. And they had to baptize him earlier, or maybe they lost some of their children before baptizing.
So they wanted to do it sooner.
To do it, yes.
From and that's interesting. Sherry has said this form looks similar to what she's seen in Czech archives records.
Yes. I think it was I forgot to mention that Knez Miloš, who ordered books to be written, sent some scholar priests to Austria, Hungary, possibly Czechia, to see how there those books are written. To handle patterns, of course, to be written on Cyrillic letters, transcriptions, and but form was, I think, almost the same as I saw some books in Croatia was on family research published.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry for taking a lot of time to others, for example. And here on the right side of my pattern was the first thing to look. Here is parents, father, mother name, a surname of both of them,
Yes, we
their
love
her
that.
maiden name, and
Mm-hmm.
and place. Forgot to mention that when you go to a local archives here in my birth town, when you put DVD in, you could zoom those pictures as much as you like.
Yes, that's
I'm
one nice
sorry.
thing about digital.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And this is, for example, as you can see,
Mm-hmm.
letter here, word is two letters. It is from. Parents are from a village name. This is
Yes.
county, Chachak, and they were land makers,
Marvelous.
farm workers.
Yes.
And all of them were pen makers, but this name of the village is not like this name. I hope everyone sees difference. And I looked only, this is Ježevica, for example, long name. This is short name, Pet, 5 letters. And on this page, there are not at all, not mention of my village, Lipnica.
So
And
I have a
yes,
question. What
okay.
is the stamp, that round stamp for?
This is stamp of local historical archives in Chacha.
Oh, okay, like we do with
Yes.
library books and things.
Yes.
Okay.
And in sometimes local municipalities, local archives officers,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when someone, for example, this one, Milan,
Mm-hmm.
died or get married later on in his life, municipality officer or priest put note about him. And
so they come back to this record and update it?
Yes.
Wow.
And and updated and telling when did he die or get married, with whom did he get married or she,
Yes.
when, and in which book, record book, and the page and the number where was it, that marriage or death record was written.
All right, I have to interject here.
Okay.
Jeannie has 2 comments. She says in our state of South Carolina, there are variations in Roman Catholic times of baptism. Some are same day as birth, when they thought the child would die, so that's a similar tradition. Some were later, a few months or years, 13 months, 3 years, or all 3 children baptized at once. And John, do you want to just a minute? Let me let John speak. John lives in the Netherlands. John?
Yes, well, I have no experience with Orthodox records, but a lot with Roman Catholic records. And here it was custom to baptize the child as soon as possible, because the church would not have a situation that the child would die without being baptized. So they would do that as soon as possible after the birth. And if a child's life was in danger, then the midwife would perform the baptism, and the priest would later, well, let's say, redo it. And in those situations, you see in Latin the words sub conditione, which means under conditions. So if it was not done properly, then it was done again, and then it was okay. So in most of our records, you will never find Catholic children that are baptized months or years later.
Yeah.
Here
Let
in
me.
Serbia,
Yeah.
after World War II, there were situations when people get married, get baptized in maybe 40 or in maybe 60 years,
Mm,
50, 40 years without
because.
baptism because
Yeah.
it was forbidden. And
Oh.
in those times, there was not, how to say, custom to someone else perform baptism. I am sorry for not being performed like that. But nowadays, there are many situations here in Serbia in hospitals when little children has how to say extremely dangerous for life.
Yes.
And I had myself my personal situation about 6 months ago. I was born on October 16, and on October 18, I became grandfather.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thanks. And this was when my sister's son became father,
Mm-hmm.
and I am uncle grandfather.
Uncle,
And
grandfather, I
baby,
love it.
yes, yes. And baby, only one day after born, was uh, taken with hospital vehicle from Čačak here to Belgrade to be on some surgery and etc. And I didn't know what to do.
Mm,
Baby was in the hospital, no one allowed to visit, not even priest.
because of COVID?
Yes, because of COVID.
Right. Right.
And I saw some YouTube video from other priests here in Serbia, Predrag Popovic, who had similar situation, maybe I think 10, 15 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
when his first son, was in the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
He prayed to God for good doctors, for good technology with medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and his spiritual father told him, what do you want now? God gave you good doctor, God gave you machines,
Mm-hmm.
apparatus, but child was on the edge of life.
Mm.
And he said to his father what to do. His spiritual father said to him, go to hospital and baptize that young child.
Mm-hmm.
He was not priest then. He was like all of you. And he said, how? Is it possible? His spiritual father said, of course, yes. You go to hospital, you say, child of God, name, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Ivan Pat is baptized in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and you put cross over it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
When he go out from the hospital, bring him here in Monastery Žiča, which is near Čačak and Kraljevo. There are 40 kilometers away from Čačak, my town, and I will update. I call it, I don't know, in
Redo.
English.
Yeah.
Yes. And that guy from Netherlands
Yeah,
behind
he
me
said
of that.
redo. Yes.
Yes. And I'm sorry for in those times in 19th century, it was not doing. So it was not done. Many children died without names.
Mm-hmm.
In those times, only priests wrote names, wrote births, and baptized. In these times, there are state books where state perform writing of those books of birth, and church writing of baptized books. There are two parts of same book. Now then it was only one book, not two.
Just the one. So
Yes.
in my history, baptism or christening was one type of record, because in the United States we have government vital records
Yes.
separate from church records. That
Yes.
separation
Same.
between church and the government is
Same here.
theoretically absolute. So seeing that we have a birth date and a baptism date, Hillary, let me ask you, in England, the records you're looking at, are they also listing a birth date?
Depends where it is. Some do, some don't.
Oh, great.
Officially,
It depends.
officially they don't have to, but in some parishes, you get a lot more. I mean, some of the Norfolk records are really good. They actually list a mother's maiden name, which they don't have to, but others, you don't get it. It varies depending on who's recording it.
We're getting a lot of other comments from people who are expressing what happened at the time their daughter was born. They were out of the country because of military service of husband. And what we're talking about here, folks, are the religious traditions that prevailed at the time of the birth. And I have great respect for the different cultures and religions, and therefore traditions for recognizing a child, for naming a child, as it may be expressed in this country or that country or another country. So we have we're learning a lot.
There's one comment that I think we ought to have in the recording,
Yes.
and that is, don't assume that a baptism date is a birth date. They're two separate events and should be thought that way. They may happen the same day, but they're two different events.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons for that. For an example, I was not baptized for 6 years after I was born. So I bring that up only to say that if your tradition that you were baptized in has a date that doesn't look right for the tradition, look for the reason for that. And I think Father Ivan would agree that that if the tradition that you're baptized into, what is that tradition? Same day, a week, a month, years later, or did it happen? What was that interval tradition today or at the time, and the 2 dates? But
and even the term baptism can mean something different.
Right.
It could mean admission into the church congregation versus more what we're talking about, like a christening, to give a baby a name and a blessing by the recognized religious authority that family adhered to. These traditions are marvelous.
And Sherry just said, my church does not do child baptism, only adult.
Yeah. So we also have a thing here, Father Ivan. Oh, this looks interesting. But where I have people that lived in Kentucky in the early 1800s, and Kentucky was like the wilderness. And so they would not have churches at all, except maybe every year or 2 or 3, a traveling minister would come by on a horse, and he would marry the couple that was accepted as a married couple, but not formally married by a minister. And then the children would each be christened. So the first time I encountered that, I was a little surprised. I'm like, did they all find religion at that point? No. The priest happened to come through, the minister rather came through, very seldom. So,
Yes.
okay.
And here is I think you mentioned
Yes,
far away churches from the village,
yes,
from the place of residence. And
yes,
here is example for it.
yes.
For example, there are four villages mentioned here. Rajac, Banjica is like little Banja. Banja is, I think, in Czechia. There is Karlovy Vary, who is well known for people to get help, to be in the water, warm water, and to be in therapy.
Oh,
And here,
therapy. Yes.
yes, and other two villages, all of them now 100 and some years after, all of them had their own church. And people in those now in church, it was 2 or 3 kilometers away. And then, especially two villages up there, was 20 kilometers away from the church. And people brought their child and all others to the baptism
Yes.
and to the wedding.
Yes.
People will, and not, then it was not cars, it was horses and sheep and others.
Donkeys. Yes.
Yes, and donkeys, and it was very hard for them to manage it. I don't know how did they
How they got
accomplish it.
there. Yeah.
Yes, and this church is my savior. For what? For before I should watch maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters to search for village name.
Mm-hmm.
5 words, and now I had only 1 word. It was very much quicker, much efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Also, birth name, baptism date, name, parents, and this is updating of the church book. Here is child order.
Wow. That's useful.
Yes, because before there was not mention of it, but now we see that this child is third child of those two. And also question, who are first and the second child? This child is second, and this is fourth child of them. And so who was first, second, and third child? It was ordering very good for knowing.
Very good, because you know to look in earlier records.
Yes.
Because
yes.
we want the family complete.
Yes. Yes. And here is one proof of how well then they was. For example, when I talking about occupations, I mentioned all of them was land makers, farmers. But in this special case, it is male, Momčilo was name. His father was Abraham Popovic. Popovic is priest family.
Oh, okay.
In Serbia, priest is called Pop.
Okay.
And so his relatives are Popovic.
Okay.
And his grandfather would not be farmer. His grandfather of the priest's son was owner of shop in my town church. He was not from the village.
Oh,
he was
okay.
from the town, and it was very much proving that this family was very good, very well situated, and so
wealthy. Yes.
Wealthy, yes, yes. In my mother's church records, I found many of them whose grandfather was priest.
Mm.
And for someone to accept to be grandfather on the baptism or wedding, it was very good.
Like an honor.
Yes, like very good honor.
Yes.
And
So if the grandfather is from a different place, folks, that gives us
Yes.
another set of church records in that other place to start looking for more family going farther back. Excellent.
Yes. And here is 4 pattern.
Oh my gosh. So
Second
it's
update.
we're going to be adaptable. Yes.
Yes, yes. Here, here, all of the same on the left side, name of the person,
Mhm.
birth date as baptism date,
Mhm.
and here is place of baptism. Previously, before 90s, in 19th century,
Mhm.
custom was baptism in the church.
Mhm.
In 20th century, many changes has happened. First one, baptism was not in the church, but in the home of priest.
Oh, okay.
Second one is not in the church, it's not in the home of the priest, it is in the home of the parents.
The family. Yeah.
Family,
Parents.
yes. And there is in the church. And so I had previously a question for cousin Russ, but no, not anymore, because in my family in 20th century, there are about 150 parents.
Mhm.
When I enter baptism event as 1910, January 2nd was baptism, and place of the baptism was home of not parent, but home of father, Dragic,
Mhm.
to make it different from other fathers, from other parents,
Mhm.
and to see more precisely where there was baptized. And
So the name, so just like you said, you're an uncle grandfather,
yes,
the names that we put over our relatives, our extended relatives, is
Yes.
different in
Yes.
your country
Yes.
than perhaps
Yes.
in mine, and
Yes.
could be completely different in a third or fourth country here. So, yes.
I know that in USA it was first relative removed, second
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Cousin removed. Yeah.
Yeah, cousin.
Mhm.
Here in Serbia, we have parents, children, and above parents, there are brothers and sisters of those parents.
Yes.
Uncles,
Those are
aunts,
aunts and uncles. Yes.
yes. And their children are to me brothers by the uncle.
Okay, and here we call them cousins. I
Yes.
love this nomenclature and that we're distinguishing this.
Yes. And here is my village name.
Yay.
It is from is 2 letters, and you will see, I hope you see first letter here, just to make it more.
Oh yeah, zooming in.
You see, zooming, and you see like an A without
Yes.
and
But does it
here,
have the line?
no,
Okay, good.
it doesn't have the line.
See,
Yes.
I'm paying attention, Father Ivan. I get a
Yes.
gold star from
Yes.
you.
Thanks. And here is main update of the record books in 20th century.
Okay.
Child order, this was first child to them, but here is 2 main parts. His father was 20 years old
Okay,
when
that's what the
his
20
son,
is.
yes,
And the mother
and
was 19?
and yes, mother,
Okay. I just
and
read a
yes,
Serbian document, Carol.
thanks, thanks. And here is year 1910. So this father was born in 1890,
Yep.
according to this document.
Incredible.
And here is, for example, here is the village name, same as this name.
Yes, I see.
So they are relatives because surname is also the same.
Let me ask Hillary, do we not see maybe I'm thinking of Norwegian records, and maybe you can help me. Of my panelists, do you have any tradition of they go back to a census record, or they go back to a marriage or baptismal record to update? Now they're married to so and so, then he died, and now we're married to so and so. Did I see this somewhere in Norway, Liv? Is this a tradition there?
No, I can't think of anything except the vaccination.
Oh, the vaccination list. Okay. All
Vaccination is
right.
the only one.
Yeah.
And here,
The Catholic records in England, they might go back to doing something like that. I'm sure I read something like that type of thing when I was looking through some transcribed Catholic records.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. I know I've seen it
Mm.
somewhere. And
Perhaps
Ireland, they do that.
where?
Ireland.
Ireland, they do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Robin. John, you wanted to say something?
yeah, I'm not sure if you mean what I think you mean, but for example, if we have a baptism register, a Catholic one,
yes,
then there are columns where they can add the date, the place of a marriage, and the spouse as well. For example, when people get married in our chapel, then we send notice to the place where they were baptized, so they can add the information about the marriage in their
yes,
own baptism register.
yes.
So
Same
that
here in
that would be
Serbia, but
impossible to do here.
here
be-
in Serbia, it is performed not in church, but in state municipalities.
Yes.
You see this note here, it is written by state municipality, that this one here
Yeah.
she died in my hometown church back in, I think, 2nd September of 1971. And here is death register book,
Mhm.
number, godina, year, I u church. She was written in the church.
Okay.
And this is the state municipality from church send a note to municipality in village Ježevica, and officer in Ježevica recorded.
Records it.
Put it, yes, record it and put those data, those records data in note. This is what the note from here in Serbia.
All right. This has been a fascinating discussion, and I see that you have some additional, one more church record
Yes.
and then marriage.
Yes.
Let's do that one
Yes.
more church, and at another time, let's talk about marriage, because
Okay,
our time
okay.
is getting short.
I'm sorry.
No, never apologize. It's just fascinating to learn about records from Serbia. Go ahead with this one.
And here is example, as I said here, how to not write
Oh dear.
church record. Why? Because when I photographed this image in state municipality in mother's ancestors, previously it was father ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
those books in mother town did not able to digitize. You could go in municipality and search and read like church books.
Mhm.
And those books, 1863 to 1880s,
Mhm.
get about, I think, 2,000 pages, very
Mm.
old pages,
Mhm.
one half century. And this one gave me headache because in every other record, here is word father. There should be his name.
Mhm.
There is mother named Mati, mother. Her name, Dimitra ili Dmitra, daughter of Gvozden Vujosevich, my ancestor. Previously resident in Sel village Luke. Previously would meant that his her father, died
Mm.
before baptism.
Mm.
He was landmaker, county chacha. But what was name of the father?
Mm.
And I sent that image to my colleagues, priests, higher priests than me, with 40 years of experience
Mhm.
in the priesthood.
Mhm.
They said, Father Ivan, after 1 year, we don't know single letter to read.
Mm.
What is a written? Far away, what was meaning of those letters? So I forgot about all of it.
Mhm.
And my friend from local archives in Charter told me, Father, you forgot Church Slavonic language. I said, what? What has to do Church Slavonic language as official language in the church? When I serve Holy Liturgy and other services,
Mhm.
I serve it in Slavic, in that language, not
Mhm.
Serbian language.
Mhm.
I said, what? Why? What does it mean to be vjedeti? Word vjedeti in Slavonic language is a knowing, to know. I know, ja vjedu. Same as in Russian. And ne vjedeti, ne vjedu is I don't know.
We don't know the Father.
We don't know. And here is the word, Father is unknown.
But you had to think not Serbian, but
Yes, yes,
Slovakian.
Slovak.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. Changed my mind and also.
Yeah.
And it took me 1 year to actually see what I didn't saw.
Yes.
Here is a. Here
Oh.
is a v in Old Slavic language.
Oh.
And maybe, but this was, how to say, challenge for me. I love
Of
to be challenged.
course.
Yes.
So
And
we have, so Sherry is saying her Czech baptism records are sometimes one entry, a combination of German, Czech, and Latin in one entry. And I have seen it where it's in first generation from Bosnia,
Bosnia.
yeah, not Czechoslovakia, so it has to be Bosnia,
Mhm.
that it is in Latin and horrible English,
Yes,
the entry in
yes,
the church
yes,
book.
yes.
What you have, what you have pointed out by your seeking a higher authority in the church and friends at the archive to figure out what this is. This is a good example, folks, of what we need to do as a genealogist. We would take a document like this and pull out what we liked, what we could understand, and Father Ivan actually said, I forgot about this other part for a while, except that it bugged him a little, and he was a little concerned. So he sought the advice of others who had experience, and this is a good lesson for all of us.
I'd like to just add one thing that Sheila said earlier. We talk a lot about understanding the law at the time, but in most churches, there's documents that are church laws, and she mentioned canon law in the church. So we need to think about what are the laws of the church at the time, as long as well as the civil. The other thing that Father Ivan didn't mention that I heard, and that was a column that had godparents as on some of the records, not all, but some of the records. We've been talking about baptismal records. So to me, godparents, if they're listed on the record book, are important, but you sometimes need to know who is a godparent in this kind of a record. Who are they? Are they relatives or not? So understanding the church rules or laws at the time, and different churches have different rules, but understanding the rules at the time to help us determine what the information is required at the time and when. And I would suspect that a church record will not have a primary source for a birth record.
Okay, somebody needs to mute their mic for a minute.
Yes.
I get what you're saying, Cousin Russ, because what we end up with is the fan club that Elizabeth Shown Mills has spoken of and teaches us. They're not going to pick just somebody off the street to be the godparent. This is a trusted person that you would entrust your child with if something should happen to you. We could keep talking with Father Ivan, but our time is up. I mean, first of all, I hope you enjoyed that Krista came to see you today. I know she had a very tight schedule, and that's why I apologetically interjected, because I know she had to go, but it was important that she come see you, Father Ivan. One of the things I've noticed today is that people are very interested in hearing about this country and the records and how they are kept. And Carol, I want to bring this back to you. What do you want to say before we go? And then we'll give Father Ivan the next to the last word, okay?
Sure. I think what's really important about Father Ivan appearing to us today, number one, he sets an example of learning. He has learned from the pros, which is what I said earlier. And he's not only learned, but he has, even on his slides, you saw the perfect citation for every slide.
I couldn't believe it.
That's incredible for us. The second thing is that there are people in countries that I use the term underserved by the big genealogy communities, meaning that the Balkans, areas in Africa, some areas in the Middle East are not, there aren't records available on an ancestry or even a MyHeritage right now. And so the awareness of many of these countries in just the general genealogy community, it's not there. People don't think that there's genealogy records in Serbia. And Father Ivan, maybe next time he comes on, can talk to us about how they've been digitized phenomenally. He told me that churches, churches were required, their books were taken and brought into the municipality so that they were centralized. And then that's how the digitization took place, because they were in a central location, unlike my area of Greece, where each priest has his own books, and to try to get records, you have to literally travel to every village. So I think it's really important for the wider genealogy community to realize there are people out there in Serbia and in Kosovo and in many of these smaller countries who care just as much for their ancestors as we do, and who are struggling, maybe in some of these countries, struggling to get the records that are needed. So I appreciate Father Ivan setting an example for us and showing us what can be done in your own country, and helping to raise the awareness of these smaller countries that are not as well recognized in the wider genealogy community.
And think about how much work Father Ivan, as a single person, has done for his community and has shared it with us. Thank you, Father Ivan.
Yeah.
I can see, Father Ivan, that you're following along in the chat very closely, and you know that people are saying thank you. Some people do have Czech or very related ancestry, and this is just absolutely marvelous. And I invite you to come back again another day, because I would like to learn more about the marriage records, like we studied in the church records for baptism. Plus, it's just fun to talk with you and to see the similarities and to have fun with words and to talk about the different names we have for family relationships. It's all very fun. And also, it builds wonderful bridges. And that bridges mean that there's going to be communication both ways. And this is what we're all about here. Cousin Russ, is there anything else we should talk about before we go?
I think we've got it. There's a lot of, you should save the chat, those that are able to do that. And there's a number of links that I put in about the country that we talked about, because many of us don't know. But Father Ivan, I love that first slide where the citation was there.
I just flipped.
What a winner.
Yeah. All right. One of the links that Cousin Russ shared was in answer, I think, to Sheila's question. I'm not sure if it was Sheila.
Yeah, that's correct.
How many religions are there in Serbia? And so thank you for that, Cousin Russ. You also gave this link so that you could figure out where Serbia actually is. And a little bit, you've heard Father Ivan mention Montenegro, Bulgaria, Croatia, the Balkans, etc. And so that was helpful. I particularly thought it was beautiful to see your church with the bell tower. That just means, I don't know why, but it just meant a great deal for me to be able to see that. Now, Father Ivan, did you have anything else you wanted to say before we conclude our meeting today?
I don't have anything. Just wanted to thank all of you.
Oh,
for listening to me for 1.5 hours. I thought maybe 10 minutes, but a lot of talking.
It worked out beautifully. It really did. And thank you to the panelists for being prepared if Father Ivan ran out of breath, which I don't think he will. He knows his work, and we appreciate your having been here.
Keep up the great work. Keep up the great work, Father Ivan.
And seriously, come back in we'll have maybe on a Wednesday evening, we could talk about the marriage records and some of the other slides that you've prepared. Okay?
I will check.
Okay, we'll keep in touch. Yes, we'll keep in touch.
Thanks all.
All right. Thank you, folks. I have thoroughly enjoyed it this morning. I told you it was going to be an unusual Mondays with Myrt today, and it was indeed. Everybody's saying thank you. wonderful meeting. Nothing left to say, but I'm dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.